Here it is, another episode of Extra Bases with Bristol and Booth. Jeremy was in the Great White North, so that's why we were on hiatus for a week. Would that be an accurate assessment?
Yeah, time zone's a little different. It's a little tough. Had some good players I needed to see. So, we're back. We're back in the great city of Houston, Texas.
We have a lot to get to on this episode of Extra Bases, but we are going to start with this. Jeremy, your impressions of Lance McCullers Jr. following his first start in more than 900 days.
Um, First of all, I'm glad he got the alarm clock to start, and then I'm glad that he got the bus to start, and then I'm glad he got to the ballpark to begin the game.
What does that mean?
I just, I'm building up the starting here. A lot of starts today, and then I saw his face, and he's a reliever. And so, I just it's 90 pitches. I want to say 87 sounds right to me, in over 3 innings. And I look at this and man, I'm very happy for Lance McCullers that he's back on the mound, like in a big league uniform. Couldn't be happier. I'm very happy for the Houston Astros that he's back on the mound in a big league uniform. For his first day back in over 900 days, the only thing you really wanted to do is leave healthy. Be honest with you. Let's leave healthy. Let's be some kind of effective. Let's show we still have major league stuff, something that says I can still pitch at this level. And he did that, to as of this moment in time, all those boxes are checked, But when you have that many pitches, it's in that many innings, the rule of thumb is trying to get to 20 pitches an inning. We talked about this before. Is 20 pitches an inning to turn the lineup over, get the pitcher out of the game, and that's just over 30. That's a lot. And so, it's probably better to lend himself to what we talked about. The command isn't there. The arm action is going to be what it is. The injury history is pretty in depth at this point. My impression on Lance McCullers in a nutshell is that I'm glad he's back in a big league uniform. He still belongs in the bullpen, and today didn't dissuade me from that.
Does his pitch selection or his assortment of pitches, how he used them, does that matter at all to you?
His stuff is his stuff. You famously go back to when he was drafted, threw really hard and had a hammer. That's what happened, right? And then he goes into the next time we really see him that jogs the memory, a memorable moment, is that outing in that 2017 World Series where he threw that many breaking balls in a row.
It was the ALCS
LCS. Yeah,
against the Yankees.
That one jogs the memory, like of McCullers' moments in time, right? And then I saw him come back in the pandemic, and he pitched in the COVID year, and he stayed on the field that was a 60-game season, but he stayed out there, right? And then I start looking at other moments in 21, 22. It's the Phillies. That's the next moment to stick out to me. And I would just say that 3 years later, his stuff is going to be hit or miss on any given day. So whatever he's got today doesn't mean he's going to have that in 5 days, 6 days. Whenever he takes the ball again, doesn't mean he's going to have that. And I think pitch selection with Lance McCullers is a day-to-day thing. And now it's always an evolving story. It doesn't matter who's pitching. But I think with him especially, injury risk and all those things considered, it's a day-to-day thing. It's the way he went about it today. And if he went about it today and still had that many pitches and they didn't make an adjustment, that's probably the best he could go out there with.
Here's what stands out to me. Another moment, Lance, ironically, pitching against the White Sox because it was 2021 when he was 13-5 and they get to the division series and he suffers the right flexor tendon injury in game 4. And that was really the catalyst, if you will, for what Lance has endured over the past 4 years.
I think I was in Chicago for that, was I
You
not?
were.
I think I was in Chicago for that. And yeah, I hear that. You're not wrong. I don't disagree with anything. You can point to any number of those, any injury, any point in time, and you can say that's been defining the last couple of years. I would argue that that is another moment. It's a good moment, but it's a moment in an extreme injury history. And the best the Astros can hope to get out of him right now is to baby his innings, keep him productive, put him in the bullpen, let him break everybody else with productivity, get his mind right, get him healthy. Now, he may not want to do that. I don't think it matters. That's just my opinion. He may not want to do that. But from a standpoint of what's best for the club and what he showed me today, he showed me that's his role. That's what he showed me. And I know it's the first time back, but he showed me that's where he should end up.
So let me run down the pitches he threw and
Okay.
how many.
Okay.
87 is the total. Changeup threw 28 of them, 32%. Why did you have that face?
That's a lot of changeups, Jason.
That's what I thought.
If you believe in your fastball, that's a lot of. Go ahead.
His sinker, 25 of them, 29%. The
Okay.
slider, 17 of them, 20%. Knuckle curve, 16 of those, 18%. He also threw one cutter.
How many fastballs at all that? Math escapes me. 20?
Uh, 26,
Yeah.
right? The sinker and a cutter.
So for the most part, that's pretty much well, the sinker. Okay, so the sinker's what we're calling the fastball. We're not calling the four seam. All right.
I mean, that's what we do nowadays, right?
Yeah, yeah, okay. I mean, for me, um, it looks like even pitch selection. That's a lot of changeups. That feels like a scene from Major League when Eddie Harris says, "I got to get some Crisco and some Bardol." I mean, just it's what it feels like. And I'm not listen. You got to give the guy all the credit in the world for getting out there and continuing to come back and fight and resilient. That's his heart and his intestinal fortitude, as we say, has never been a question. Like Lance McCullers is a warrior deluxe. Like it's never been a question. Just the role doesn't fit. And if he's down to that type of division, he doesn't trust any of it. He's working his way back. Again, that's today, right? That's today trying to get his feel for being a big league mound. But yeah, that's a lot of non-fastball selections. It's evenly distributed, but it's a lot.
Topped out at 93.8 miles an hour. His average fastball sinker, 91.8, so 92.
Yes, it's about a 45 fastball on the scouting scale. And I say that because years ago that was average. Today, that's a little tick below average with how much harder guys are throwing and the gun technology. We can't forget the gun technology. The overall average in velocity changed about a mile, 1.7. I think that's what I figured out. But it's my own math as far as what I was reading with tech and the rest of it and the studies I've done. But that's a lot, still a lot overall in evolution. And so an average fastball today is probably somewhere around 92.5, 92.6, somewhere in that
Does the
range. So
spin matter to you? Do you need the spin?
I mean, I think the faster that it spins, the further it goes out. Certainly at 91, 92. Now, the sink that matters. You want those to be low spinning pitches because that stays on the ground. Low spinning pitches for those of you at home, and low spin rate pitches and balls that go east and west are tough to lift. So if you're trying to not give up home runs, which in an age of we'll call it power focus, you would try to not give up home runs, right? More than ever. Sinkers and balls on the ground are more prevalent than anything else or more of a desire than anything else. So those type of pitches say that's what he would do, that type of velocity and low spin, sinker slider stuff. But that's still a lot of non-fastballs where it seems like he's trying to get his feel and keep guys off balance and not let them get comfortable at all.
Swings against the changeup, 18 swings, 2 whiffs. Sinker, 8 swings, 1 whiff. Slider, 7 swings, 2 whiffs. Knuckle curve, 5 swings, 1 whiff. And the cutter, no swings.
Sounds like somebody that's got below average stuff to average stuff at his best day at this moment in time in his life. About right. Somebody who goes to a lineup one time, Also about right. Turns the staff over, protects them, and he has a role. That's par for the course for where he's been in that spot for 4 years though. Like, that's really where he's been since the pandemic. So he came back from there. That's where he's been. And so I'm not even in Chicago. It was like, yeah, it's still 95, in that year. Still 95. It's still in there. It's mostly 91, 92. At least that's my recollection, right? It's this way, it's this way, it's this way, it's this way. It's any possible way you can do it to get guys moving and off balance, which is also known as, and I know this can be a novel concept in 2025, pitching. So he's out there pitching and he's competing, and that is likely why he'll still be successful. But the role for me is in the bullpen, and again today just backed that up entirely.
Should we take into account as well the weather conditions? It was a bit chilly there. Jeremy's shaking his head.
No, no, he's not a first year guy. He's been in the big leagues as far as on the roster in some capacity since 2016. Sound right? 17, 16. Same draft as Correa. 16 sound right?
I'd have to look here. Hold
I think
on.
he's at 10 years. I think he's at 10 years.
Well, yeah, he just got 10 years.
Yeah, so that
He
would be
just
six,
he just
16.
reached 10 years.
Right. So that would be 16, correct?
Yeah.
Or sometime in 15.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean he's not new to this. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, but I noticed this. To me, when Lance went to the mound for the first time, he, in my opinion, and I haven't heard from him yet, but it seemed like he was really taking a step back, taking it all in, trying to gather his thoughts. It just seemed like it would be. I was wondering if he was going to be too amped for it. I was wondering if he was going to be too amped.
I think it's more emotional for him. The guy has had, again, back to that warrior spirit, he has had an incredibly difficult time of being healthy and staying in the big leagues. And again, it's something that was predicted and something that wasn't foreign to see, but at the same time, it's making it any easier. So, I feel like, again, not speaking for him, never trying to do that, that if I'm him in that moment, I'm looking around a little bit. I'm back. I'm looking at the fans. I'm in the big leagues. I'm on the mound. I don't know what's going to happen. I think I'm healthy. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. So, and then again, of course, it's going to be about how he recovers tomorrow and how he feels later today and when the next time is he takes the ball. But I think as this settles in, for his career, for the Astros, and this should have happened 7, 8 years ago, he should have gone to the bullpen.
2015, first season in the bigs, started 22 games at age 21.
Yeah, it's one thing to come up as a starter and develop in the minor leagues as a starter. It's another thing to stay as a starter. I'll give you an example, and it's something that Lance McCullers, unfortunately for him, you can't go back in time and fix this. But Edwin Diaz, we drafted as a starter in the third round, and I'm in Jackson, Tennessee, watching him pitch. I'm still with the Mariners, and I'm in Jackson, Tennessee, watching him pitch, and I get a call from Tommy Allison, and Edwin was starting down there, and TA says, "Hey, we got on Diaz." I say, "It's probably a reliever." And TA goes, "Yeah, but he's a really good one. He's going to do it for a long time." And I said, "I agree." Now, they already made this decision, right? They already made this decision. It's like, hey, should we sign Robinson Cano? Yes, Jack, we should sign Robinson Cano. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, but it was, what do you think? Do you wait? How do you feel about it? Do you weigh in on it? Let's get your take. I know what I want to do. And Tommy had a big hand at the time in conversion. Well, the decade later, because remember, we drafted Diaz in 12, I want to say, right? Same draft as McCullers. A decade later, who's had the better career, Edwin Diaz or Lance McCullers, right? Both guys are probably relievers. And one guy insisted on being a starter and missed, of the 10 years he's been in the big leagues, missed what, 5 of them? Maybe, if you add them all up. Okay. And the other guy has missed 1 year because he had a freak accident at the World Baseball Classic. Diaz has been there the whole time. So it really does have a lot to do with longevity stuff and compete and resiliency and all the factors that go into understanding what your role is. But at the end of the day, he's back on the mound. The Astros, he has some value. It's up to the Astros to use him properly.
I would say 4 years, because I'm looking here. He pitched in 2020. That doesn't count.
Sure.
But in 2022, he only made 8 appearances.
'Cause he
So
got hurt.
he missed all of 23, all of 24. Well, let me go in order. He missed all of 2019. He
Yep.
missed all of 23, all of 24. So there's 3 years, and then most of 2022. There's 4 seasons.
And 21, he pitched the whole time and he got hurt in Chicago in the playoffs,
Yeah.
right?
21 to this day, no surprise, is the best season he had in terms of durability, wins, and ERA.
Yeah, he was hurt in spring training in 22. Does that sound right? And then he came back towards the end of the year and the Phillies were hunting him, right? Yeah. That's when they won the World Series, right? Remind me?
Yes, it is.
22? Yeah. So 21 was Braves, 22. Okay. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. And Diaz missed the 1 year because he got hurt in Miami. So it really is a matter of it's not a matter of his ability or his makeup. It's a matter of the right role.
In
But he's
2020,
back.
yeah, in 2022, McCullers came back in August.
That's right. Yeah. But he's back.
He's
He's back.
back.
I felt bad for him in 22. I'll say this till I no longer have an opportunity to say it. I felt bad in 22 because the fastball wasn't there, the breaking ball was clear, it was spinning in the middle of the zone, and everybody was just waiting on him. I felt bad for it. He went out there, to his credit, again, being that warrior in Philly, and absolutely took it. He wore the beating, he took the ball in the weather, and it was just, we're gonna wear this guy out. And the Phillies did. The Phillies did, but he took it for the club and did what he had to do to find a way to push the club forward. So
But when
hopefully,
you look at his numbers for the season, granted it was only 8 starts, he was 4-2, had an ERA of 2.27, allowed only 37 hits in 47 innings, and struck out 50 guys. So he was at 9.4 Ks per 9 innings with a WHIP of 1.238.
yeah, but that's a guy, even with the way he's coming off with his history, you put him in the bullpen there too. You know what I mean? You're not worried about trying to stuff him in the rotation. Matter of fact, I remember being live with you on camera when we found out that he was pitching instead of Christian Javier, and I was like,
Yep.
"What?
Now
You
the
kidding me?"
playoffs were a different animal that year. He pitched 3 games and allowed 16 hits in 15 innings, and of course, obviously, what happened in the World Series in Game 3. But 21 was definitely his best season in the playoffs. He pitched 2 games, he won one, and struck out nine, 3 walks. I'm sorry, 10 hits allowed. 10 innings and 9 hits allowed. So 21 was definitely his best season as an Astro, without a doubt.
It's funny because you take that and put it together, right? And you've got 2019 he missed World Series. You've got 2020 COVID, 60 games. You got 2021 full season, gets hurt in the postseason. You got 2022, he gets hurt in spring training, or maybe he's not healthy, comes back around and pitches 8 games, gets hurt again, misses 23 and 24, and here we are in 25. Like, every time he takes the ball for an extended period of time, the guy breaks. And we've talked about this repeatedly. And I don't know if you have a season yet where he hasn't been hurt, maybe 20, but that doesn't necessarily count because it's COVID, right? It counts, but it don't count. So,
Yeah, I mean, 21 you can't count because he got hurt in the playoffs, right?
that's right. And 22, he had 8 starts. So he was hurt there. He missed 23, 24, and he's missed part of this year. So he's, 19, he misses. 18, did he get hurt in 18? Pitched the whole year in 18.
18, he pitched 25 games in 18.
And 17, obviously he was around. That was the World Series.
Yeah, he was 7-4 that year. Actually made the All-Star team, but I
Mhm.
wonder if there might. I think he got shut down in one of those seasons as well.
I want to say
At
it was
18?
16. I want to say it was 16 or 18. I don't think it was 17. I don't remember him pitching against Boston. That was 18. That's just me.
Well,
A long time
in
ago.
in 18, he pitches August 4th, and then we don't see him again until September 26th.
I knew it. He didn't pitch again, so he got hurt there too. Okay, so um, it's just when you have somebody gets hurt all the time like that, to run him out in the rotation because he decides he wants to do it is doing the player a disservice. It's also doing your club a disservice. But in any event, look, positives are we're here. This is the right club to try it with to see where he fits. He's going to fit in the bullpen. He needs to fit in the bullpen. And if I haven't said it before, he's a reliever and he needs to go back into the bullpen.
And also, while we were away, a fairly significant move with the Astros lineup, and that is Jeremy Pena moved to the leadoff spot. Jose Altuve moving down to number 2. And if I'm reading the stories correctly, this was Jose Altuve's idea. And Jeremy, I think what this does indirectly, this is not good for the analysts. Not good for those analysts out there who believe that you can plug somebody anywhere, right? Because Jose Altuve has essentially said what I read, I wasn't there that day, that jogging in from the outfield, he doesn't have as much time to get prepared for his first at bat or an at bat. And he just felt like he needed 10, 15 seconds more. Now, Jeremy, if these guys are machines and you can plug them anywhere in a lineup, that shouldn't matter. He doesn't need extra time. He's a ball player. The numbers are the numbers. But that all goes back to feel and what you've been preaching since day one, especially day one of the 2024 season when it came to Yordan and Kyle Tucker and the batting lineup and Alex Bregman, and I don't want to go down that road again. But I find it very interesting that Jose Altuve said that he needed a few extra seconds. But you've always been a big proponent of Jeremy Pena batting higher in the order anyhow.
Yeah, I've always said that assuming Altuve hits 1, which is where the assumption was made, that Pena is better than 2 spot. And the reason why Pena was better than the 2 spot is because not only do the tools fit there, but because of the damage that lines up behind him, which gets him better pitches to hit. So you put him in the 1 spot and Altuve in the 2, it's the same effect. It's just Altuve made the switch. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take this one as a dub. Yep, I'm gonna take this one as a dub. It's just it's this is a win for the extra bases team. And we've been saying this for a while, and I'm glad we could help the ball club, I'm happy to be here. Because I just don't I don't tell you. I will say this. Some of the experts are going to be a little upset. I haven't really paid a whole lot of attention. They might be a little upset. They won't say they're upset, but I don't know how many times they can be wrong and still think they're going to be right. Jordan's got to hit second. Nope. Tucker's got to hit second. Swing and a miss. And even Altuve, who had to make the switch for himself, puts Pena in a better position, and they're better constructed to score runs. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I do that again? Did I say that word? Construction. I know. Yeah. Oh well. Look, in any event, they're a better position with that guy at the top of the lineup. Good for Jose Altuve for speaking his mind, leading this team, helping a very young manager still in the game, not age-wise, but manager young in the big leagues. With a move that only a veteran can make. Good for Joe for listening to him.
Remember Schoolhouse Rock? Remember Conjunction Junction?
Yeah.
You have Construction Junction.
I'll take it. Because that's another dub.
Which I actually feel that we should create some T-shirts that say Construction Junction, and then what's your function, and then we can put you on this. I'll put a screenshot of what I'm talking about.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. That was one of the first things I thought of was, ooh, this isn't a win for the analysts and for the people who are into numbers and Muppets. Like, this was not a good thing for them because this flies right back into the face of these guys are robots, and where you hit them is where you hit them, and they should adjust. That was one of the first things that I thought of when I saw that Altuve was moving down in the lineup per his request.
Yeah, it's without question it's without question the better scenario for them. It's not something that people who want to put Alvarez in the 2 spot are going to be happy about, but if they're scoring runs and they're winning games, much like we saw last year, probably need to stick with it. And Pena's done well in that spot, right? We talked about some numbers. You said he's done well in the leadoff spot.
Yeah, Pena 407 batting average through May 3rd, a 1041 OPS. Four strikeouts, one walk in 6 games, but you'll take that 1041 OPS. Batting average on balls in play 455, and total bases 16. Much better than when he bats fifth. And I would agree with you, Jeremy. He has so much more protection now. He has shown throughout his career that he is a better hitter when he is sandwiched or protected behind him. 2022 as a rookie. And I asked Joe Espada earlier during spring training why perhaps that Pena would not be in contention to bat second at the time. And I'm paraphrasing, but I do recall him mentioning something about his approach. They were looking for some things. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but anyhow. Big news out of the New Balance Future Stars series. Proud to announce the launch of the Future Stars Series Baseball League, which will begin in Canada, but feature regions throughout North America as it quickly expands. Founding organizations in Canada include the Mississauga Tigers, Vaughan Vikings, HPP, Durham Stallions, with others in final preparation. Is this college? High school? What is this?
This is a high school league.
Okay.
We are there's roughly 9 regions lined up in the US behind that'll come out in the next couple of weeks. Since that has come out, we have had 7 or 8 organizations that were involved with us at one point, some that were not, reach out to us to find out how to get involved. This is something that it accomplishes the right purpose for everybody. Most importantly, the players. It takes a lot of the steam out of this bubble of parent overspending, and allows travel organizations to do things that are more conducive to the right budgets, and for travels for recruiters and for scouts to be able to see players where they want to see, because they still want to go to games. But additionally, it allows us to get the right data, to capture it all, to get the right modeling going, to do all the things we need to do with players versus players and talent versus talent, which is a lot different than what we've seen so far. We have seen some people out there that have really watered down stuff, and it's just not fun to be at. It's not fun to be part of. It's way too expensive. It's overblown, and it's become a cottage industry in some ways. And it's time to restore it to a better place where, the cost of doing business is one thing, but when you're trying to nickel and dime everybody into oblivion, especially in today's economic times, which have been difficult, if we're being honest, extended for most of the country for quite a while. It's time to find a different, better way to do this, get better games, get better talent, and this is a pretty big step in that direction.
So let me knock off here some of the highlights from this news release available on FutureStarsSeries.com. No league fees. No league fees. Players must participate in scout days with their organization. Those reports will then be directly available to all collegiate programs. The environment provides real statistics, and because of the programs involved, they're not watered down statistics per se.
That's the real part, is that you don't have to worry about a prospect hitting, 800 for a summer because he's playing against talent level that's not befitting of his, right? And that's, look, people get upset about that. You're not supposed to, oh, this kid isn't good. If that's the case, everybody playing the big leagues. It's not. There's a separation, and
there will be no more than 8 teams in the league in any region.
Yeah, 8 organizations. That's what that means. So
yeah,
for every level. Why? Because you get watered down after that. You have to be tightened up, and there's still some room to go play some random, call it experience-oriented tournaments if you want to. I mean, you can do that type of stuff, but it doesn't. Good baseball is good baseball. It has to be a separation between good baseball, it gets players better, moves them forward, and entertainment. And we've really merged the line or blur the line when it comes to players experiencing entertainment and thinking it's baseball. That's not it. There's an entertaining function of playing baseball, but the game itself is still very competitive. And when you take that out and it becomes a score that's kind of out of whack, the stats don't matter, the numbers don't matter, and we've gotten to that place. So as a draft room guy or scouting director or GM or analyst or area guy, doesn't matter. It becomes a lot tougher to predict and understand and put a part of your model. And when it comes to the college component, they got to win now. There's a return that has to happen. They don't have time to develop guys in school anymore. They really don't. Not in many cases. Some do, most don't. And so they need to be able to get there, and this helps them do that.
And the league will expand to 7 already determined regions across North America over time. So what's the timeline?
2025. I mean, there's 9 lined up now. That was a nice way.
I would imagine Houston, or at least Texas, has to be one of the regions.
Texas is without question one of them. Okay.
All
Texas
right.
I'll tell you where they are. I don't mind telling you. NorCal, Texas, Mid-South, the Gulf Coast, Southeast, Midwest, New England. How's that?
I didn't count them all, but that sounds like 7.
Yeah, that's about right. Plus Eastern Canada. So there's 8.
And what happens like when you win the league? Will you then go advance to another? Like, will the leagues play each other in a tournament style playoff?
It's a great question. So we will end up moving our national championships, the team events that we have, which are now back in Houston. We'll end up moving those to the fall. Okay, and we'll book in September. Like, we'll have the signature events that we have in the bookends and the national championships in the middle by age group. Now, there's some events on the West Coast people like going to in the fall, and there's events in Florida that people on the East like going to in the fall. And so the weeks don't conflict. So it makes it pretty easy for us to plug in there too. And you have one really good fall. Now, every team that's in our league, every organization that's in our league can have 2 different teams, meaning let's call it an American and national for argument's sake, right? And so they'll have 2 different teams, and those teams will then come here in the fall, seeded by where they place in their region against another region. Let's use Canada and Southern California as an example. SoCal has 1-8. Canada's got 1-8. One Canada plays 8 SoCal. One SoCal plays 8 Canada, and they play their way in to the championship, the playoff round in the championship. They all get to come to Houston and be here in September. So that's the way that we'll also take care of the city of Houston, but that's how we'll find a real national champion.
All right, everybody, we are running out of time. That's going to do it for this edition of Extra Bases. What we talked about: Lance McCullers, Jeremy Pena, and the Future Stars Series Baseball League. For Jeremy, I'm Jason. As always, thanks for watching Extra Bases. Till next time, have a great week. 1 minute.